Yeah, Mohammed, the Trump administration has been pretty steady in its comments regarding how Iran can perhaps find its own off ramp when it comes to the situation of its nuclear program. After that report by the IAEA's Board of Governors saying that Iran is not cooperating properly with the IAEA and is not opening its nuclear facilities for proper inspection, President Trump once again reminded the Iranians that there is two options at this point. Either you come to the negotiating table and find some kind of negotiated settlement to your nuclear program, and this destruction will not happen, or then it's going to turn very ugly. This is one of his quotes to one of the interviews that he gave here in the United States to a national media outlet. Now, it's important to note that while the United States has said that it will help Israel's defense, it still maintains that this is not its war. It's assisting Israel, and that unless and until American troops are not attacked by Iran or one of its proxies, then the United States does not want to get involved offensively. And I think most military experts and those in the Trump administration agree with that. If you ask the Americans, they say, right now, the off-ramp is for the Iranians. They can still come to the negotiating table. The United States has not closed its door to negotiations, although there have been mixed reports on whether or not Iran wants to continue negotiating. Reuters is reporting that Iran has absolutely said that it's not going to come to the negotiating table, but we haven't really heard concrete answers from a key official really coming out and publicly saying that. So is it going to happen? Possibly not on Sunday. But whether or not these two can come together, then that would deter Israel from attacking Iran further.
Interesting. Now, but the fact is, if one is negotiating in good faith, one does not end up killing the person that one is negotiating with, which is what has happened with the Iranian negotiator who was holding talks with the other American negotiators. The question that needs to be answered at this moment, Susan, is this. America is, of course, a very close ally of Israel. America has, of course, supported Israel in every single war that it has fought in the last 7 decades of its history. At this moment, what are you picking up at your end in terms of the American involvement and the level of its involvement in what has happened so far? Because all this started from Operation Rising Lion that the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu seems to have gone ahead and carried out without perhaps the explicit consent of the American president.
I think there is understanding that there was coordination between the two sides. It's hard to imagine that Israel would go at this operation alone by itself. Although U.S. officials were sort of being murky before the strikes happened against Iran by Israel, it appears that they do have their talking points now straight. And President Trump has been very clear that he knew when it was going to happen and how it was going to happen. Again, it made clear that it did not provide any military access or assistance carrying out those attacks against Iran during the initial strike against Israel. But the United States has been very clear that it's going to stand by Israel and its defense capabilities. He even came out and said that America was so aware of this operation. And although Trump had asked Netanyahu to hold it off to see where these negotiations go, the United States and President Trump himself explicitly said that we had resupplied the Iron Dome during this time as well. So they see it as a national security issue. The United States sees this as a national security issue. But it's clear that President Trump and, of course, the American people, they really don't want to get dragged into some kind of prolonged war. They are going to continue helping Israel in its defense against Iran and the Iranian attacks that we saw just happen hours ago. The United States admitted that it was indeed involved in defending Israel. But again, to launch some kind of attack against Iran directly, that would possibly only happen if Iran or one of its proxies decides to attack American personnel, some 40,000 of them right now, in the Middle East region. So it's a very tense and sensitive situation. And I think, looking at how things are developing and unfolding, it doesn't seem like there is any cooling down at this point from either side.
Interesting. Do continue to stay on with us, Susan. Meanwhile, let's also now get some